enjoyed that little fun intro I thought of. Today, professional wrestling fans mourn the loss of one of the most creative, entertaining, and fun gimmicks to come out of the 80s, the 90s, and very early times of WWE and professional wrestling. That is the Ugandan giant, Kamala. Screw it. Hold on. Just trying to find a good place for the light. Kind of works since Kamala was a very dark character, I guess. It always is sad when a legend passes away, and for Kamala it is no different. My regards, my prayers, everything goes out to his family. And if you look at some of the backstage stuff when he wasn't Kamala, when he was just him, he truly was one of the nicest, heartwarming, smiling, happiest people you'd ever see in the WWF at the time, man. Always in a good mood. He was happy, man. And sadly, right before he died, he did lose both his legs to, I believe, diabetic causes, which is completely sad. But even in an interview after he lost his leg, where he's in a wheelchair, he still said, "I'm still the Ugandan giant." Watching old videos of Kamala, it definitely helps. And you've seen me before. I'm a very thick person. I'm a very big person. Someone like watching old Kamala footage, with how he would slap his stomach, it would help me. And of course, Kamala was very much bigger than me. He was around 300 pounds. I'm at best, with what I currently have for weeks, 232 pounds. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just saying, I do have a stomach on me, and someone like Kamala, he definitely helped me with being comfortable like that, man. Same with a lot of big wrestlers, like, looking back at old stuff, of course. Yokozuna, Earthquake, Typhoon, big guys like that, who are very agile for their size. Most people who are wrestling Sylvans and historics, like myself, know one of Kamala's biggest rivalries was actually with The Undertaker. It ended at Survivor Series 1995 or 1994, I believe, where Undertaker stuffed Kamala within a freaking double-wide casket, nailing it shut. For years, Kamala was managed by Kimchi, and probably one of the worst managers in wrestling history. Where it's like this: for every infamous Bobby the Brain Heenan, or I'm still holding my phone. For every Bobby Heenan, for every Jim Cornette, James J. Dillon, who was the manager for the Four Horsemen, original incarnation. For every great manager, you get a Harvey Whippleman, who is his manager for a short period of time. After that match, Kimchi and Harvey Whippleman would begin to abuse and betray Kamala. After that point, Kamala would be picked up and managed by the Reverend Slick, who was most famous for managing the Big Boss Man and the African Dream, Akeem, who was also... God, there has to be something here, man. Akeem was also known at one point as the One Man Gang. One of the funniest things to me when it comes to Akeem was, when he was returned as the One Man Gang in a, I'm guessing like a charity show or something, like a Clash of the Cove, if you've heard of that. He was a One Man Gang. He actually found a guy in the crowd dressed as Akeem. It was freaking hilarious. But the segments between Kamala and Slick were freaking hilarious. And if you read a tweet that Bret Hart said, he has said that Kamala was probably one of the nicest men you'd ever meet in that era of professional wrestling. It is truly a shame, in my opinion, that he never really got a title shot. I mean, technically he did in 1993, I believe, or 1992. He challenged Hogan for the WWF title, but it being Hogan, we all know how that would have ended. Hogan was a megastar, man. Anyway, both in WWF and in WCW, he was a freaking megastar. In WCW especially because it was just irritating how he was like a Roman Reigns basically of WCW. You couldn't keep the freaking belt off of him. But wrestling fans didn't mind back then because we were a lot more accepting of stuff and not as critical. But back to Kamala, man, it's always so sad when like legends you know are very nice people, the good people of this business, pass away like Kamala. And I remember a comment said, like here's what the comment said: little girl would ask her father, "Daddy, why did the good ones go? Why did the good people die first?" Their father would respond, "Well, what kind of flowers do you pick first? The pretty ones," the little girl says. Exactly, father says. There is, and that is basically what goes on with sometimes when people pass away. The good ones are sometimes the ones that go first. And it's just like picking the prettiest flower. Crap. I just had something to say, but I forgot it. Damn. Man. Why can't I remember? I hate. You ever have that moment where you plan to say something, you say something else, then immediately the thought leaves you? Here's something interesting else to say about Kamala. George A. Steele has said his best cartoon match, which is a good idea of a cartoon match, is just basically gimmick versus gimmick, I guess you could say, was in Madison Square Garden in '93, I think it is in. Somewhere around that era of wrestling. It was Kamala versus George Animal Steel. That has to be one of the most just an entertaining match. Like one where fans aren't focused on the technicians of wrestling; they're just having a good time watching two entertaining and awesome gimmicks and characters like Kamala and George Animal Steel. Oh, now I remember. I don't like saying this because it does sound like I'm being an ass, but a bright side for Kamala passing away is at least he no longer has to suffer having no legs. So there's a little positive. Oh God, I hate. It is a positive thing to think about because at least he's no longer like suffering. Like not having legs, and that's not to say anything like that. It's just, God. See, even when I say I don't give a shit about what people think, it's still hard to explain what I mean. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd just say, at least doesn't have to worry about having no legs anymore. And me saying that, just unscripted, it kind of sounds like I'm being a jackass. So even when I don't care, and I really don't about what people think of me and my stuff, I still try to at least describe or be descriptive of what I mean when I say. But yeah, let's see, the last wrestler that passed away, I believe, was, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, big WWE guy was Soulman Rocky Johnson, I believe. After that was the Japanese wrestler that people may commit suicide. But yeah, rest in peace, the Ugandan giant, Kamala. Rest in peace, big man. Let's play this song. This is also his theme, by the way.